Remember those endless summer days that felt like they just last forever? Sun rays kiss your skin, grass tickles your toes as you bite into the creamy popsicle melting in your hand. Pure, unbothered bliss. Capture more sun-drenched memories with the Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration Multiplier from Liquid IV. This nostalgic vanilla flavor with notes of candied orange can help keep you hydrated while savoring your favorite golden hour moments. No matter how hot your summer gets, just one stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. It's 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, with 8 vitamins and nutrients for refreshing on-the-go hydration. Live your summer dream with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code INDULGE20 at checkout. That's code INDULGE20 at liquidiv.com.
Somewhere in the great dark beyond, essentially space or the universe, there are planets that hold a soul, a world soul. These aren't common and can form into planet-sized cosmic beings known as Titans. Titans are deeply intertwined with the cosmic force called Arcane, representing the essence of order itself. Arcane is not just a power source for them, it is their life force. For instance, the original Well of Eternity, a massive reservoir of arcane energy, was akin to the lifeblood of Azeroth's world soul. Titans also exhibit a curious vulnerability to fell magic, their polar opposite. Despite this susceptibility, mature Titans remain impervious to the corrupting influences of the Void Lords. When a Titan is born, what happens to the planet that contained this colossal being? Well, the quote from Chronicles describes it as cosmic winds howled across their gigantic forms. Bodies shrouded in a cloak of stardust, skin crisscrossed with silvery mountain peaks, and ocean shimmering with latent magic. One theory suggests that perhaps the planet's continents end up resting on the Titan itself, as proposed by a Reddit user named Solaris. Another option is that the planet has the continents floating in space, similar to Outland. Alternatively, the Titan could fix the planet to how it was while it was living within it, using their power and the spirit energy from the planet itself to put it back together before departing. Although I'm not totally sure if that would be possible, but that's just a theory that I have. But let's go to the Pantheon's origins. The first Titan to awaken for reasons unknown was Aman'Thul. He believed other Titans were slumbering in the Great Dark and set out to explore the cosmos, finding and nurturing emerging world souls until they awoke and joined him. After some time, he had awoken his siblings, forming the Pantheon, which consisted of Aman'Thul, High Father of the Pantheon, Ionar the Lifebinder, Norgannon, Keeper of Celestial Magics and Lore, Golganeth, Lord of the Skies and Roaring Seas, Khaz'goroth, Shaper and Forger of Worlds, Agrimar, Lieutenant of the Great Sargeras, and Sargeras the Defender. In the ancient ages of the universe, the Pantheon tirelessly molded and arranged various worlds, hoping to discover other Titans, yet their quest remained fruitless. While no other Titans were found, they summoned beings known as the Constellar to observe and watch over the ordered worlds. The Constellar were tasked with monitoring worlds for signs of instability. When needed, they could activate a failsafe to cleanse a planet of life, resetting its evolutionary path. This process mirrored the actions of Algalon the Observer within Ulduar. While the rest of the Pantheon explored the universe and other planets, they sent Sargeras to deal with demons spawning from the Twisting Nether, as they threatened the order the Pantheon was bringing to worlds. Sargeras realized the demons were wielding the powers of the Void, suggesting that more powerful beings sought to influence the physical universe hidden behind the veil of the Void. Now, since the Void is such a big part of the Titan's lore, I figured I should talk about what it is. In the dawn of time before the cosmos, only the light and the void existed. At first, the light was all there was, a boundless, ever-shifting sea of life energy. Yet as some of its radiance faded, empty pockets of cold nothingness emerged. From these pockets of nothingness, the void emerged, a dark, devouring force craving to twist creation inward and consume all energy. As the void expanded, it clashed with the light, sparking explosions that brought about the physical universe. The most unstable energies formed the Twisting Nether, where the light and the void collided, plunging it into chaos. The Void Lords and their minions have been engaged in an endless power struggle with the other cosmic forces for ages. The light and the void as opposing forces have clashed since the beginning of time, waging their epic battle across countless worlds and affecting countless lives. The void sees the light as insatiable and stagnant, offering only fleeting peace in exchange for absolute obedience. The void has also attacked the Shadowlands in the distant past with nearly limitless forces, causing immense damage to Bastion. Only the Kyrians' heroic efforts prevented the complete destruction of the Shadowlands. Now, the old gods were created to corrupt Titan worlds, including Azeroth, with the ultimate goal of allowing the Void Lords to manifest in the physical cosmos. The Pantheon and Sargeras have both tried to oppose the Void, with the Pantheon destroying the Black Empire and Sargeras launching the Burning Crusade against them. It was believed that a Void-corrupted Titan would be unstoppable, even by the Pantheon. At one point, the Void attacked and destroyed every demon on a Legion prison world, a fate described as worse than enslavement by Lothroxian. The Naru, likely Zira, warned Illidan that the Void was a greater threat than the Burning Legion. Harbinger Skris claimed that not even the Legion could make the countless servants of the Void submit. Xal'atath suggested that the Legion's invasion was futile, as the Void could corrupt dreams and demons, and not even the extinction of all things would really save the Legion from the Void. In the realm of reality, order is often seen as arcane magic, while disorder takes the form of destructive fel magic. Fel energy born from the collision of light and void in the twisting nether is not only destructive but also highly addictive. It sustains itself by draining life from living beings and consuming their souls, leaving nothing behind. Surprisingly, even a small sacrifice like a couple of fish or a few strands of seaweed can fuel this powerful magic. Fel energy and arcane energy are opposites, with Fel being naturally harmful to Titans. Fel behaves much like radiation, spreading through an area and corrupting anything nearby over time. Its presence is often accompanied by a distinct smell of sulfur and brimstone. When in physical form, Fel can take the shape of a green, gooey substance, such as the blood of pit lords, which causes mutations in those who consume it, leading to the growth of spikes, horns, scales, and wings. Felfire, another manifestation of Fel magic, is a flame that is not only deadly to the touch but also burns much hotter than regular fire. Unlike normal fires, Felfire cannot be extinguished by conventional means. However, the water from enchanted water elementals has shown some effectiveness against it. Fel Reavers, powerful constructs of the Legion, are powered by a scalding core of Felfire. While Sargeras suspected that more powerful beings were trying to influence the physical universe, he faced another problem. The demons he defeated didn't actually die. They were merely sent to the Twisting Nether to be reborn into new bodies, returning to torment the worlds within the Great Dark. With the increased demon activity, the Pantheon grew concerned and sent Agrimar to assist Sargeras. Despite Agrimar's inexperience, he quickly learned and the two easily defeated their enemies. Fighting alongside Agrimar allowed Sargeras to study the nature of the Twisting Nether, learning to manipulate its chaotic energies. He created a prison world known as Mardoom to contain the defeated demons. Now let's delve into the Twisting Nether. In simple terms, it's a dimension of chaotic magics that connects the various worlds of the universe. It is a realm of infinite perception, where every traveler sees it differently based on their circumstances, form, and state of mind. Illidan, projecting his spirit into the Nether, perceived it as a dark void dotted with countless stars, with his homeworld blazing behind him. He saw a snake-like energy representing the portals used by the Burning Legion. Turalyon, on the other hand, viewed the Nether as a chaotic realm where the energies of light and shadow clashed, creating a sky of pitch blackness filled with conflicting powers. He saw countless worlds on the horizon, appearing close yet impossibly distant. Here, the forces of chaos and order, life and death, mingled and clashed. Despite being separate from the physical universe, the Twisting Nether contains physical objects, including planets, and transcends all realities. Time flows differently in the Nether, making it impossible to gauge how much time has passed. For Turalyon and Ilaria, their battles in the Nether spanned 1,000 years from their perspective, while only a few decades passed on Azeroth. Time in the Nether is fluid and unpredictable, with a week on Azeroth potentially equating to months, years, or even centuries in the Nether. Now returning to Sargeras. After his adventures with Agrimar, there was a noticeable peace thanks to their actions in imprisoning the demons. They decided to split up to cover more of the universe, parting ways. During his travels, Sargeras learned of the Void and the monstrous aberrations known as Old Gods when he encountered a Void-infested world. He ruthlessly interrogated demons known as Nathrazim for information on the Void, learning that Void Lords sent Old Gods into the cosmos to infect worlds that house Titans, creating a being so powerful that even the Pantheon couldn't stop it. This information enraged Sargeras, and he destroyed the planet, killing the world soul within with a single swing of his blade. When he returned to the Pantheon and told them of the Void and its plans to corrupt the Titan, they disagreed with his decision to destroy the planet. They believed there was a way to save the planet from total corruption, but Sargeras couldn't be swayed. After enough debate, he knew they wouldn't see it his way. He argued that a lifeless world was better than one dominated by the Void, suggesting that life could take root again in the Great Dark. The Pantheon disagreed, and Sargeras decided to leave, storming off and never returning. Following Sargeras' departure, Aggramar took up his mantle as a protector and set out to keep watch over the worlds. During one of his long journeys, Aggramar sensed the tranquil dreams of a powerful world soul emanating from the distant reaches of the Great Dark. However, upon reaching the planet, he was horrified to find that the Old Gods had already infested the world, shrouding its skies in void energies. Realizing that Sargeras had been right about the plans of the Old Gods and their Void Lord masters, Aggramar immediately returned to the Pantheon to inform them of his discovery. He urged the other Titans to take immediate action to save the nascent world soul, which would later be known as Azeroth. Eonar the Lifebinder quickly sided with Aggramar and managed to convince the rest of the Pantheon to save this lost sibling of theirs. Due to their colossal size, Aggramar feared that direct action from the Pantheon could irreparably damage or even kill the World Soul. Instead, he proposed the creation of the Titan Forge to do battle in their stead. As the members of the Pantheon imbued part of their powers into the Keepers, the greatest of the Titan Forge. Aggramar imparted his courage and strength to Tyr, who would become the greatest warrior of the Titan Forged. The Keepers were made from Titan steel, with the ingots used in their construction forged by Aggramar himself. Along with Tyr, there were other Keepers who were picked to be empowered by the Titans to keep Azeroth safe, and those were Khaz'goroth empowered Arquidus, Eonar empowered Freya, Golganeth empowered Hodor and Thorim, Norgannon empowered Loken and Mimiron, Aman'Thul empowered Ra and Odin, and Aggramar empowered Tyr. While the Titan Forge achieved considerable success against the forces of the Old Gods, the Pantheon became increasingly worried about Yasha-Ra, the most powerful of these malevolent beings. Yasha-Ra began poisoning the minds of the Titan Forge, drawing out their fears and darkening their thoughts. Fearing that the Old God would prove too much for the Titan Forged, Aman'Thul took matters into his own hands. He reached down through the stormy skies and forcefully tore Yasha-Ra from the crust of the world. But by doing so, he tore a wound within Azeroth herself. Yasha-Ra wasn't just on the surface. Its tendrils had bored more deeply through Azeroth than the Pantheon ever imagined. Horrified by this, even the Pantheon realized that they couldn't risk killing the other Old Gods in such a manner. So they did the only other thing they could do, and imprisoned the Old Gods and hoped to contain their evil forever. Before they left Azeroth in the care of the Titan Forged, Aman'Thul commissioned the Consular Algalon to watch over the planet. I'll go over more of what the Keepers did in their own video, but in this one I'd like to keep it more focused on the Titans, as much as possible. After Sargeras stormed away from the Pantheon, Aggramar embarked on a solitary quest that eventually led him near Draenor, a world yet to be discovered by the Titans. Despite not sensing the presence of a world soul, Aggramar found himself captivated by Draenor's unique qualities. The planet boasted a rich tapestry of vibrant plant life and untamed wilderness unlike anything he had encountered before. However, amidst the beauty of Draenor lay a looming threat, the Evergrowth, a colossal botanical hive mind. Aggramar foresaw a grim fate for Draenor if the Evergrowth continued its unchecked expansion. This ferocious entity threatened to consume everything in its path, including the very essence of the world itself. Driven by his inherent desire for order, Aggramar sought to preserve Draenor's life while curbing the Evergrowth's destructive advance. His solution lay in neutralizing the Spore Mounds, the core of the Evergrowth's power. Recognizing the danger in his own immense power posed to Draenor, Aggramar opted to create a powerful servant in his likeness to confront the Spore Mounds, thus ensuring the world's delicate balance remained intact. Aggramar's colossal hand swept over the world, weaving its elemental energies into a massive storm. With a mighty gesture, he unleashed this tempest into Draenor's largest mountain, the energy surging through the crust and reverberating across the globe. The mountain stirred to life, rising on colossal legs. Thus, Grond was born, serving as Agrimar's instrument on Draenor. Commanded by Agrimar, Grond embarked on a mission to conquer the rampant plant life. As he traversed the land, Grond reshaped the terrain, carving pathways and separating the evergrowth. Upon encountering the nearest spore mound, Grond vanquished the creature effortlessly, showcasing his formidable power. As Grond clashed with the spore mounds, his body fragments sprang to life, imbued with the essence of life. Though Grond eventually fell to Batan, the final spore mound, Agrimar found solace in the resilient Colossals. Though not as formidable as Grond individually, their sheer numbers cast imposing shadows over the land. Crafting colossal discs inscribed with Titan runes from Grond's remains, Agrimar fortified the Colossals, granting them enhanced strength and resilience. Meanwhile, the Evergrowth began to reclaim the lands that Grond had liberated. As Agrimar unleashed the Colossals against Batan and the Genesaur, he sensed a Consular's death in the Great Dark beyond. He departed to investigate, leaving behind a promise to return. However, he never fulfilled that promise. While the Titans diligently shaped the cosmos, Sargeras secluded himself, consumed by contemplation on the universe's plight. Overwhelmed by fear, doubt, and despair, he concluded that the only salvation from the encroaching Void Lords lay in purging all life from the flawed cosmos. Thus, the Burning Crusade was born. Realizing the need for a formidable army, Sargeras journeyed to Mardum, a world saturated with fell energies. With a single devastating blow, he shattered the prison world, unleashing its demonic denizens and triggering an explosion of fell energy. The cataclysmic event twisted Sargeras into a being of seething hatred, his form contorted beyond recognition. Here's a quote from Chronicles Volume 1 that describes what happened to Sargeras when he destroyed Mardum, and I thought it was just a great descriptor. Violent energies enveloped Sargeras, surging through his veins and searing his very soul. His eyes burst in gouts of emerald fire. Fell volcanoes ignited across his once noble form, splitting his skin apart and revealing an endless furnace of blistering hate. Yet despite these horrific changes, his mind had not changed. He was locked on the idea that life itself had to be extinguished to protect it from the Void Lords. The destruction of Mardum not only released its demonic horde, but also tore a rift between the Twisting Nether and the Great Dark, creating a blazing emerald scar, a permanent testament to Sargeras' betrayal and the cataclysmic events that unfolded. Sargeras empowered the demon horde before him, augmenting their size or intelligence with his own might. He presented them with a stark choice: join his cause or face annihilation. While the majority agreed, a defiant minority rallied under the banner of the Dreadlord Uthalesh. In response to this challenge, Sargeras forged a mighty scythe from the blazing fires of Mardum's demise. With this weapon, he harvested the souls of the rebellious demons, imprisoning them anew. Uthalesh, displaying unmatched will, was the final soul to be consumed. Sargeras christened the scythe, later known as Uthalesh the Deadwind Harvester, in honor of the Nathrazim who had dared to oppose him. Over the ages, Sargeras bestowed the weapon upon Nathrazim, Doomlords, and even demigods, only to witness their spirits consumed by the scythe upon their defeat. With the rebellious demons crushed, Sargeras forged his Burning Legion. This new army descended upon its first world, eradicating several mortal civilizations and sentient species. Sargeras himself struck down the consular assigned to watch over the planet, leaving devastation in his wake. Agrimar was the first to discover the fallen consular's demise. Confronting his former mentor, Agrimar demanded an explanation. Realizing his words could not sway Sargeras, Agrimar challenged him to single combat. The battle raged fiercely until both warriors' blades shattered in an explosion of fell and arcane power. Badly injured, Agrimar withdrew and alerted the Pantheon of Sargeras' treachery. The Pantheon and the Legion, poised for battle, clashed near the planet Nihilum. Aman'Thul implored Sargeras to abandon his destructive path, revealing the existence of Azeroth, a distant world soul with the potential to challenge the Void Lords. Despite the High Father's plea, Sargeras remained steadfast in his belief that all life must be purged. Having fought alongside Sargeras in the past, Agrimar made a final effort to reason with his former mentor. Approaching unarmed, he recounted their glorious battles, hoping to stir memories of their shared past. In his unyielding resolve, Sargeras let out a howl of both fury and sorrow as he swung his blade, nearly cleaving Agrimar in two. But while his body was destroyed, Sargeras would capture Agrimar's soul and corrupt it to do his bidding in the future. The Pantheon, infuriated by this act of betrayal, unleashed a relentless assault on Sargeras. However, they were no match for the overwhelming fell might of the fallen Titan and soon fell in battle, unable to withstand his power. Sargeras declared victory and continued his burning crusade, seeking to corrupt Azeroth, which he saw as a threat to the universe if corrupted. Unbeknownst to Sargeras, Norgannon, the Titan of Magic, had cast a final spell. This spell preserved the souls of the Pantheon as their bodies perished, sending their souls hurtling through the cosmos where they all reached Azeroth, where they collided with and entered the bodies of the Keepers. Aman'Thul's spirit eventually collided with Ra, his most devoted Keeper on Azeroth. Ra, unlike the other Keepers, recognized the significance of the powerful surge that accompanies Aman'Thul's arrival. He carefully extracted the Titan's soul fragment and safeguarded it in a mountain vault near the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Years later, the ambitious Mogu warlord Lei Shen stumbled upon Aman'Thul's stored essence. Absorbing its power, Lei Shen used it to forge the mighty Mogu Empire, shaping the course of Azeroth's history. Now, as mentioned before, all the Titan's souls arrived back on Azeroth and entered the bodies of the Keepers, but eventually Sargeras would capture the spirits of the Pantheon. It doesn't say how he did it or anything, but the wiki just says that he was able to capture their spirits except for Eonar, who escaped. The rest of the Pantheon, consisting of Aman'Thul, Khaz'garath, Norgannon, and Golganeth, were tortured by the Coven of Shavara on the planet Argus with the goal of breaking them. But we'll get more to them when we get to the Legion part of this. After vanquishing the Pantheon, Sargeras faced a dilemma. His Legion had suffered considerable loss in the Battle of Nihilum, revealing a flaw in his demon ranks. While fearsome, many demons lack strategic acumen, hindering Sargeras' ability to coordinate his forces effectively. Seeking a solution, he turned his gaze to Argus, a world inhabited by the Eridar, a race known for their intellect and mastery of magic. Appearing before the Eridar's leaders, Kil'jaeden, Archimonde, and Velen, in a guise of radiant splendor, Sargeras offered them a compelling bargain: unimaginable power, status, and the chance to shape worlds into paradises in exchange for their loyalty. While Velen hesitated, troubled by doubts, Kil'jaeden and Archimonde eagerly accepted the offer. However, a vision from the Naru and the Atamal crystal granted Velen insight into the true nature of Sargeras' offer. Realizing the impending doom, Velen and a faction of followers fled, becoming the Draenei. Meanwhile, the remaining Eridar succumbed to Sargeras' corrupting influence, transforming into monstrous demons. Their minds clouded by fell whispers, and their once peaceful world plunged into chaos. Sargeras charged Kil'jaeden the Deceiver with a dark mission: to seek out the most malevolent races in the universe and enlist them into the Legion's dreaded ranks. Meanwhile, Archimonde the Defiler stood poised to lead Sargeras' colossal armies into battle against any who dared defy the Titan's will. With his forces amassed and obedient, Sargeras unleashed his raging hordes into the boundless expanse of the Great Dark. To this day, the full extent of the worlds consumed and ravaged by his burning legion on their unholy crusade remains shrouded in mystery. After the Legion's formation, Sargeras entrusted an Uranisi named Brood Queen Tirana with the Sargerite keystone, appointing her as ruler of the shattered realm of Mardum. Additionally, Sargeras extended an offer to the formidable Aldrich people to join his burning legion. However, the Aldrich remained steadfast and incorruptible, slaying countless demons before their eventual extinction. Sargeras, through an avatar, personally confronted and killed their greatest champion, claiming his legendary weapons, the Aldrich Warblades. These blades would later find their way into the hands of Kil'jaeden and his loyal demon hunter. During one conquest, the Legion corrupted the leaders of a world, slaying its heroes. Yet a lone child, ablaze with righteous fury, sneaked into the Legion's stronghold. There, amidst the resting Eridar guards, the child slew several, including Gorma. When Sargeras discovered his hound slain, his wrath knew no bounds. The world and its inhabitants were reduced to ash, scattered across the vastness of the Great Dark. Mephistroth, a cunning dreadlord, saw potential in Gorma even after its demise. He extracted the Fellhound's fangs and carried them to a demon forge on Argus. There, he crafted 2 legendary daggers, the Fangs of the Devourer, imbued with the power to manipulate air and light, granting their wielders unparalleled stealth. Sargeras, impressed by Mephistoph's creation, eagerly awaited a worthy bearer for these potent weapons. Finding the right wielder was no easy task. Loyalty was paramount, and the risk of betrayal loomed over the Legion's choice. Skilled assassins, though invaluable, were known for their cunning and potential for treachery. Sargeras could not risk Gormad's legacy falling into enemy hands. After much deliberation, Sargeras identified a candidate worthy of the Fangs, Akari, an Eridar tracker whose exploits in Legion invasions had earned her renown. Summoned to Argus, Akari was presented with the opportunity to wield the Fangs of the Devourer. Sargeras promised her unparalleled power and skill in exchange for her unwavering loyalty. Akari, recognizing the grim bargain, accepted. She would become a living weapon, a harbinger of death, forever bound to the will of the Legion. Sargeras set his sights on a small, fiercely independent world, anticipating their stubborn resistance to a direct Legion assault. Recognizing their potential susceptibility to fear and paranoia, he saw an opportunity. This world became Akari's inaugural mission, her first test with the Fangs of the Devourer. Infiltrating the planet's defenses alone, she sowed discord and terror, ensuring its eventual fall to the Legion. Having proven her loyalty and effectiveness, Akari became an invaluable asset to Sargeras. Though her will was now bound to his, her cunning and deception remained. Seizing an opportunity, she requested permission to traverse the Twisting Nether, a realm of chaos and unpredictability. Intrigued by her request, Sargeras granted her leave, eager to witness the havoc she would wreak in his name. Upon her return to Sargeras, Akari bore not just new skills, but a profound revelation: fear. While a potent weapon was not always the most effective. She advocated for a new approach, one that favored subtlety over sheer terror. An assassin who struck unseen instilled fear, but one who remained entirely unknown bred complacency. A hidden threat, after all, was one that could not be anticipated or prepared for. In the ancient past of Azeroth, a pivotal moment unfolded 10,000 years before the Dark Portal opened. Queen Azshara, reigning over the Elven Highborn, wielded magic with unrivaled mastery, treating it as a mere plaything. In this era of splendor, Sargeras finally pinpointed the planet's location, drawn by the immense arcane power emanating from the Well of Eternity. To pave the way for his invasion, Sargeras called upon Azshara, recognizing her as a key to his machinations. The Queen, awestruck by Sargeras' immense power, fell sway to his subtle manipulations, believing him to be a deity deserving of worship. Seduced by promises of knowledge and power, Azshara consented to grant Sargeras entry into her world, harboring hopes of a divine union. Thus the stage was set for the first cataclysmic invasion of Azeroth. Through the savage onslaught led by Archimonde and the Pit Lord Mannoroth, Kalimdor quaked under the relentless assault, its very essence drained by the insatiable hunger of the demonic horde. Meanwhile, Sargeras, the mastermind behind the invasion, lurked in the ethereal shadows of the Twisting Nether, biding his time as Azshara labored to fortify the portal for his grand entrance. During this interlude, Sargeras orchestrated a series of dark deeds. He twisted the noble Xavius into the first of the Satyr, a grotesque fusion of man and demon. To Illidan's Stormrage, he bestowed the gift of dark sorcery, searing the Night Elf's eyes and adorning him with arcane markings, marking him forevermore. Additionally, he bestowed the malevolent Scythe of Uthalesh upon Setail, commanding her to harvest the souls of Azeroth's defiant inhabitants, commencing in the region that would later be known as Deadwind Pass. At the pivotal moment of Sargeras' impending arrival on Azeroth, the Night Elves, bolstered by Cenarius' woodland allies and Alexstras's mighty dragons, rallied their forces and revolted against the Highborn in a cataclysmic clash. This epic battle not only obliterated the Well of Eternity, but also shattered much of the continent into ruins. The defenders of Azeroth paid a heavy toll to banish the demons back to the Twisting Nether, yet they achieved a historic victory, the first time Sargeras had ever been thwarted. As the portal rift to the Twisting Nether collapsed in a dazzling surge of arcane energy, the very fabric of reality was torn asunder. This cataclysmic event caused a colossal portion of Kalimdor to plummet into the sea, leaving in its wake a massive swirling vortex of water, an eternal testament to the well's demise, known thereafter as the Maelstrom. In the novel War of the Ancients, Krasis, Ronan, and Brox find themselves thrust back in time, where they joined forces with the demigod Cenarius and the dragon aspects to battle the Burning Legion. In this altered timeline, Sargeras' initial invasion of Azeroth once again meets failure. As the war reaches its climax, Broxigar takes a daring leap through the portal, wielding the axe of Cenarius forged by Malfurion Stormrage. He valiantly slays many demons, drawing the attention of Sargeras himself. In a final desperate act to stall the Titan and protect his allies, Broxigar charges at Sargeras, managing to wound the seemingly invincible being in the leg, a remarkable achievement for any warrior. Although Sargeras ultimately kills Broxigar, the orc's courageous act leaves a crucial mark. Seizing the momentary distraction caused by Krasis' power, Malfurion exploits an opening in the portal's defenses, launching an assault that destabilizes it. Defiant to the end, Sargeras, refusing to accept defeat, steps into the collapsing portal in a futile bid to reconstruct it. Instead, he is cast into the Nether as the gateway implodes around him. After his defeat at the Well of Eternity, Sargeras wasted no time in devising a new strategy to infiltrate Azeroth. He understood that a static portal was no longer viable. Maintaining such a gateway required an immense amount of power, and the most promising source had been destroyed in his previous attempt. Furthermore, the elaborate preparations and spellcasting of the Highborn had alerted the defenders, leading to his downfall. To overcome Azeroth's guardians, Sargeras needed a method of entry that would catch them off guard. Hence, he ordered the Eridar to craft a device capable of tearing open temporary rifts between worlds, allowing a fraction of his essence to pass through. While this meant he couldn't manifest in Azeroth in his full destructive might, it would pave the way for his avatar to spearhead the Legion's invasion or enact more subtle schemes. The device also posed a threat to the stability of the physical universe, potentially leading to its collapse, but Sargeras viewed these risks as mere side effects. In a grand and sinister endeavor, legions of magi performed dark rites, channeling numerous portals into a single staff. This empowered artifact was then projected across the vast cosmos, intricately woven into the fabric of reality, like a thread waiting to unravel the seams of the physical universe on command. To fuel this monumental task, 100 warlocks sacrificed 100 demons, carefully chosen from the Legion's ranks that had partaken in the failed invasion of Azeroth. Thus, the malevolent jeweled scepter of Sargeras was forged. After the chaos of the War of the Ancients settled, Sargeras was visited by a vision. The Well of Eternity once again collapsed, this time dragging him down to the heart of Azeroth. In that fleeting moment, he beheld the slumbering world soul of Azeroth, and to his astonishment, the world soul opened one eye and fixed its gaze upon the Dark Titan. This encounter captivated Sargeras deeply. Since then, thoughts of Azeroth's world soul have seldom left his mind. Driven by his obsession, Sargeras commanded the Eridar who crafted the scepter to crown it with a representation of that singular mesmerizing orb. Adjacent to it, the Eridar placed 2 Nathrezim wings, symbolizing Sargeras' vision for the world soul, twisted, demonic, and above all, under his dominion. In the millennia following the Well of Eternity's collapse, Setail, still on Azeroth, grew increasingly ambitious, strong-willed, and supremely confident. Her initial mission to prove herself to Sargeras had evolved into a quest for unparalleled power, witnessing the heights she could achieve with Uthalesh. She questioned whether her goals had been too modest. Setail left a trail of destruction in her wake, massacring thousands, transforming Deadwind Pass into a tomb, and unraveling a magical nexus of immense power. Her future seemed limitless, and she no longer relied on anyone's favor to fulfill her ambitions. The whispers of the dread Lord Uthalesh from within the scythe clouded Setail's judgment. She decided to claim the magical nexus for herself, erecting powerful walls to shield it from prying eyes. Secluding herself, she severed ties with the Legion, patiently awaiting the day when she and Uthalesh would be strong enough to challenge the Dark Titan. When Sargeras uncovered her deceit, rage consumed him. The wellspring of power rightfully belonged to him, yet Setail dared to withhold it. Worse still, reports from his spies on Azeroth suggested she harbored delusions of grandeur. conspiring with the spirit of Uthalesh to end Sargeras himself. Such audacity demanded retribution. The errant Eridar's ambitions needed to be crushed. Sargeras found his instrument of justice in Skavel, the guardian of Tirisfal. Through visions, he revealed a perilous threat lurking in Deadwind Pass, a demon poised to unleash havoc upon the world in the name of the Burning Legion. Fearless, Skavel embraced the challenge, tracking down Saytail and engaging her in a titanic struggle that shook the land. In a final decisive confrontation, Skavel triumphed, using Saytail's own weapon to end her life. Her anguished soul was then imprisoned within the very scythe she had wielded, forever silenced in defeat. Some 9,000 years following the War of the Ancients, Magna Aegwyn, the guardian of Tirisfal, stood as a vigilant protector of Azeroth, relentlessly purging demons from the world. Recognizing her as a significant threat, Sargeras devised a cunning scheme to exploit her strengths. The Dark Titan orchestrated a demonic onslaught on the mighty dragons, knowing Aegwyn would intervene to aid the imperiled creatures. Seizing the opportunity, Sargeras manifested his own avatar through the formidable power of the Scepter of Sargeras, engaging the Guardian in a fierce battle. Despite Aegwyn's eventual triumph, Sargeras had orchestrated her victory from the start. Under the guise of defeat, his spirit entered her body and lay in wait for centuries until the time was right for him to make his return to attack Azeroth. After Aegwyn vanquished Sargeras' avatar, she entombed his body within the ancient ruins of Suramar, along with the potent artifacts he wielded. The Scepter of Sargeras, imbued with incredible power, lay hidden beneath the sea, guarded by ancient highborn enchantments that shielded its formidable might for ages. Despite Sargeras' attempts to manipulate Aegwyn and reclaim control of the staff, he found her resolve unyielding. While he could influence the Guardian in many ways, he could not compel her to retrieve the scepter from its aquatic resting place. Aegwyn's hesitation stemmed from an innate understanding of the scepter's perilous nature. She sensed a primal warning, a whisper louder than Sargeras' insidious suggestions. She knew the artifact's potential for catastrophic destruction and would not be swayed, even under the Dark Titan's influence. Years passed, and the Order of Tirisfal approached Aegwyn, informing her that her tenure as Guardian had concluded and that she should travel to Dalaran to select her successor. Defying their directive, Aegwyn determined that only her bloodline could wield the responsibility. However, unbeknownst to her, Sargeras' influence seeped into her thoughts, subtly warping her decisions. As Sargeras' whispers grew stronger, Aegwyn distanced herself from the Council, rarely appearing before them. The Dark Titan magnified her existing suspicions about the Council's plans. She saw their attempts to manipulate Eastern Kingdom's politics as a dangerous path, believing their actions would ultimately lead to catastrophe. Fearing that the Council might appoint a pliable guardian, Aegwyn clung to her role, refusing to step down. Aegwyn's resolve found an ally in Nihilus Aaron of the Tiris Guard, whom she would eventually fall in love with. Sharing her distrust of the Council's intentions, they bore a child, Medivh, with the intention of passing on the Guardian powers. However, unbeknownst to them, Sargeras' corruption began to seep into Medivh, setting the stage for the Dark Titan's grand scheme to reclaim his jeweled scepter. When Medivh turned 14, his latent Guardian powers erupted, plunging him into a coma which lasted for 10 years. However, during this time, his father tragically met his demise. Medivh's awakening powers led him to fevered dreams, where he sought out his father. Tragically, just a mere touch was enough to release a backlash of energies exploded from Medivh, resulting in his father's death. His father's spirit would go on to be trapped within Karazhan, known as the Shade of Aran. Upon awakening, he presented a facade of normalcy, reassuring the clerics and court of his well-being. Little did they know, the Dark Titan had begun to subtly manipulate Medivh's thoughts and emotions, steering him toward a dark purpose. Driven by a newfound determination to thwart the Burning Legion at any cost, Medivh, under Sargeras' influence, stumbled upon Draenor and its formidable horde. Discovering that the orcs had been abandoned by the Legion, Medivh saw an opportunity for ironic retribution. From the confines of his tower in Karazhan, he struck a bargain with the warlock Gul'dan. In exchange for the horde's assistance, Medivh promised to reveal the location of the tomb of Sargeras. With Gul'dan's Shadow Council aiding him, Medivh ventured to the remote Black Morass in Azeroth's southern reaches. There, he tore open the Dark Portal, establishing a permanent gateway between Azeroth and Draenor. This fateful act heralded the dawn of the Age of Chaos, as the orcs poured into Azeroth, setting the stage for a chaotic era of conflict and upheaval. When the dark portal crackled to life, its arcane energies rippled across Azeroth, sending shivers through every creature attuned to magic. Among those who felt its ominous pulse was Egwene. Sensing the unmistakable taint of fell magic, she knew that her son had forged a dark alliance with the Legion. Determined to confront Medivh and uncover the truth, Egwene journeyed to Karazhan accompanied by the blue dragon Arcanagos. As she entered the towering spire, bustling with nobles gathered for a gala, Egwene hoped to reason with her son and convince him to renounce his newfound power peacefully. But her hopes were dashed when Medivh revealed the chilling truth. During their final battle, Sargeras had cunningly infused his essence into Egwene's own body, lying dormant until she bore a child. Thus, Medivh was born with the Dark Titan's insidious presence lurking within him, waiting to awaken and seize control of the Guardian's formidable powers, tainted by demonic heritage. Egwene's mind reeled with the revelation, but instead of succumbing to despair, she ignited with a fierce determination. She vowed to confront Sargeras, even if it meant battling her own flesh and blood. The clash that ensued was cataclysmic, shaking Karazhan to its very core and scattering the assembled guests in terror. In a desperate bid to aid Egwene, Arcanagos joined the fray. Despite his formidable powers as a blue dragon, he was no match for the malevolent might of Sargeras. The Dark Titan's wrath consumed Arcanagos, leaving only charred bones in his wake. The loss of her friend fueled Egwene's fury, driving her to fight with even greater ferocity. Though Sargeras wielded the potent energies of a guardian, Egwene's centuries of experience and unwavering resolve proved formidable. As the battle raged on, Medivh's original self began to resurface, torn between his loyalty to his mother and the demonic influence that gripped him. Unable to strike her down, Medivh banished Egwene from his sight, ending the confrontation but leaving a bitter rift between them. It was during this tumultuous period that the mages of Dalaran dispatched a young apprentice, Khadgar, to study under Medivh. Little did they know Khadgar would uncover the dark truth. Medivh was the architect behind the orcish invasion of Azeroth. As this revelation unfolded, Khadgar, alongside the puzzling assassin Garona, saw an audience with King Lane and the valiant knight Sir Anduin Lothar. Despite being one of Medivh's closest friends, Lothar harbored suspicions about the Guardian's actions. With resolve, he led a band of warriors including Khadgar and Garona to confront the corrupted Guardian. In a desperate struggle, Khadgar, aged prematurely by Medivh's magic, held Lothar's blade to the Guardian's chest, ending the battle by driving it through Medivh's heart. As Medivh fell, the demon within him stirred to life, but before it could fully manifest, Lothar swiftly decapitated the fallen Guardian, severing the tie to the malevolent Sargeras and banishing him to the Nether. Meanwhile, Gul'dan, intent on extracting the location of the tomb of Sargeras from Medivh's mind, found himself trapped in the Guardian's rapidly fading thoughts, his own fate sealed by Khadgar and Lothar's decisive actions. Sargeras burned with a thirst for vengeance against the mortal realm of Azeroth, hoping the orcish horde would march through the portal he orchestrated, laying waste to the lands and people he despised. Despite the orcs' subsequent invasion and the havoc they wrought upon the eastern kingdoms, Sargeras' grand scheme unraveled due to Medivh's untimely demise. Deep within the shadows of the tomb of Sargeras, the orcish warlock Gul'dan embarked on a perilous quest fueled by whispered promises of unimaginable power. Medivh's cryptic hints and Kil'jaeden's seductive whispers had stirred within him a feverish ambition to seize the tomb's legendary might for himself. With trembling hands and a heart ablaze with anticipation, Gul'dan breached the tomb's ancient defenses, only to be greeted not by a looming presence of Sargeras, but by a legion of maddened demons driven to insanity by eons of imprisonment. As the frenzied demons descended upon him, Gul'dan's resolve wavered, but his cunning prevailed. Surviving the initial onslaught, he pressed on, driven by a desperate hunger for the promised power. Yet his triumph was short-lived, for within the tomb's dark depths, a cruel revelation awaited him. Amidst mocking echoes of laughter, an illusion of Sargeras himself taunted Gul'dan, shattering his illusions of grandeur and revealing the extent of his manipulation. In a grim realization of his folly, Gul'dan etched his tale in blood-stained runes upon the ancient walls, a testament to his hubris and ultimate demise. As darkness closed in around him, Gul'dan's fate was sealed. The demons, emissaries of their malevolent master, descended upon him. claiming his life and transforming his skull into a grim symbol of demonic power. In the echoing silence of the tomb, Gul'dan's ambitions crumble to dust, a cautionary tale of the perils that await those who dare to seek power beyond their grasp. In a turbulent era marked by the return of the Burning Legion, Azeroth faced its darkest hour as the Legion's forces launched their third invasion. The Tomb of Sargeras, a looming bastion of dread, became a focal point of the conflict. Amidst the chaos, Azeroth's defenders rallied, knowing that their only hope lay in the ancient Pillars of Creation. Forged by the Titans themselves, these artifacts held the key to closing the portal within the tomb and halting the Legion's advance. However, Sargeras, ever vigilant, sent his trusted lieutenant Tharzul to thwart their efforts, leading a legion of demons to Karazhan in a bid to silence the seekers of the Pillar's power. Despite Sargeras' unseen presence, his influence echoed through time, reverberating in a haunting flashback to the War of the Ancients. It was in this moment that Illidan's Stormrage, marked by destiny, bore witness to the Dark Titan's immense power. Through burning eyes and shattered visions, Illidan glimpsed the true might of the Legion, a glimpse that would shape his fate and the destiny of Azeroth itself. In the looming shadow of the Legion's relentless advance, their gaze fixates on the summoning of their Dark Master Sargeras to Azeroth. Their quest centers on a singular key to his return, the body of Illidan's Stormrage. Gul'dan, harbinger of chaos, schemes to exploit Illidan's vessel, aiming to pave the way for Sargeras' malevolent entry into Azeroth's realm. Yet amidst the chaos, Zira and the Illidari embark on a perilous mission to reclaim Illidan's soul, aiming to thwart Gul'dan's diabolical plans before Sargeras can seize control. United in determination to stop the Legion, class orders and a coalition of elven factions under the leadership of stalwarts like Tyrande Whisperwind, Varisa Windrunner, and Lady Liadrin rally to support the Nightfallen Rebellion. Their objective is to seize back the Nightwell, the Eye of Aman'Thul, and Illidan's body from Gul'dan's clutches before he can infuse it with the essence of Sargeras. Within the formidable walls of the Nighthold, Khadgar undertakes a daring endeavor to restore Illidan's soul to his dormant form. Unbeknownst to him, Sargeras has already seized control, filling Illidan's empty vessel with his dark presence. As Illidan awakens, a fierce battle ensues against the demon within. Through the bravery of intrepid adventurers, Illidan is finally liberated from Sargeras' grip, empowering him to vanquish Gul'dan and thwart the Legion's vile schemes once and for all.
You have seen what I have seen. You know what we face. Now, mortals, follow me into the abyss.
From the vantage point of his Legion ship hovering over Argus, Kil'jaeden beheld a gathering of Khadgar, Velen, and other champions of the Order. In a moment of candid conversation with Sargeras, he lamented the Legion's string of failures, questioning the efficacy of their endeavors under Sargeras' grand design. Sargeras, in return, challenged Kil'jaeden's resolve, probing whether the Eridar had lost sight of his destined path. A defiant Kil'jaeden, his patience wearing thin, asserted that he has sacrificed his world for his destiny, and that the time had come to fulfill it. We moved to deep within the sacred hall of communion beneath Sholazar Basin. Azeroth's voice resonated through her chosen speaker, Magni Bronzebeard, with a solemn warning. She conveyed the imminent threat of Sargeras' impending arrival, signaling a moment of profound significance for Azeroth and its defenders. As Magni ventured into the heart of Argus alongside Azeroth's valiant forces, a profound revelation unfolded before him. Through the pulsating essence of Argus's world soul, a vision materialized. Agrimar, Once noble and revered, now reborn but enslaved by the malevolent will of Sargeras. In this spectral encounter, Sargeras' voice echoed with sinister intent, urging Aggramar to fulfill their dark designs. With steadfast determination, Aggramar was commanded to thwart the mortal incursion and ensure the unhindered resurgence of the Pantheon. Sargeras addressed Aggramar amidst the harrowing spectacle of the Coven of Shivar's torment upon the souls of Aman'Thul, Norgannon, Khaz'goroth, and Golganeth. Witnessing their unyielding defiance, Aggramar reassured his Dark Master that their resolve would falter in due time. Sargeras, unwavering in his pursuit of victory, emphasized the indispensable need for the essence of Eonar. With a solemn vow, Aggramar pledged that the elusive Eonar would not elude their grasp. Her spirit had traveled to Elinaria, where she remained hidden for millennia, but she was finally discovered by the Burning Legion, and thanks to the help of adventurers, she is able to get away to the seat of the Pantheon, where she later meets with the other Titans. As the raid unfolds, a grim spectacle unfolds across Azeroth. A raging tempest of flames, a sinister manifestation of the Dark Titan's relentless pursuit of his coveted prize. Sargeras issues a command for Argus the Unmaker to ascend from the depths of the seat of the Pantheon. Following the valiant defeat of Argus, Sargeras finds himself ensnared by his own kin, imprisoned within the seat of the Pantheon, marking the climax of the Burning Crusade. However, in a final act of defiance, Sargeras thrusts his mighty sword in the heart of Azeroth, unleashing a catastrophic wound upon the world. This grievous wound, inflicted upon Silithus, causes Azeroth's lifeblood to spill forth, crystallizing into a potent mineral known as Azerite, its shimmering essence pooling across the planet's surface. Now, one Titan that I don't think gets talked about much is Argus, the Titan that we fight at the end of the Burning Throne raid, and I thought it'd be good to cover him. Argus, like other nascent world souls, began as a cosmic energy, swirling through the void before settling near a sun. Around him, a planet took shape, later named Argus, where life flourished and faded across the ages. However, this serene existence was shattered when the fallen Titan Sargeras discovered Argus. Sargeras imprisoned the world's soul within a fell prison at the Burning Throne, a malevolent Titan temple nestled deep within Antares, the Burning Throne, at the planet's core. The memories of Argus itself speak of betrayal and being bound by an overwhelming force, hinting at a tragic fate befallen upon the celestial being. The Nathrazim, who secretly served the jailer and the Force of Death, proposed a bold plan to Sargeras. They suggested creating a resurrection engine to instantly revive the Legion's armies, addressing Sargeras' impatience with the time it took for demons to regenerate in the Twisting Nether. The key ingredient for this engine? A world soul infused with death magic. Little did Sargeras know, this plan was part of Zoval's larger scheme. By corrupting Argus with death, the Nathrazim ensured that when the Titan fell, its soul would be hurled into the Shadowlands, colliding with the Arbiter. Designed to judge mortal souls, the Arbiter would be overwhelmed by the immense power of a world soul, potentially leading to her breakdown. The agony of reviving fallen demons was a torment that racked the world soul of Argus, leaving him screaming in horror and pain, finding solace only in his dreams. The corrupted Titan Aggramar was tasked with guarding the world soul within the sacred temple, deemed too holy for any demons to breach. Despite his suffering, Argus was vaguely aware of the Legion's burning crusade across the cosmos and the relentless pursuit of the far more potent world soul of Azeroth. The existence of Argus's world soul remained a mystery to the Army of the Light until the Second War. Zira, the Naru, experienced a vision of the Emerald Star for the first time during the invasion of Draenor. In her vision, she saw Turalyon and Illyria traversing the cosmos until they reached the Emerald Star. However, the vision was fleeting, and Zira believed that the Legion was concealing it from sight, knowing that once reached, it would be instrumental in defeating them. Zira thought this vision was the reason behind Eradication's mission to assassinate Turalyon and Illyria. Later, after being light-forged by Zira, Turalyon claimed to have seen the Emerald Star himself. He believed their ongoing war with the Legion would eventually lead them to it, emphasizing the need for patience in their struggle. During the tumultuous invasion of Outland, Argus's demonic legions had largely shifted their focus to the Shattered World, leaving Argus vulnerable. Sensing an opportunity, Turalyon and Illyria embarked on a daring mission to infiltrate the Desolate Realm. As they drew closer to Antares, the world soul within Argus sensed their approach, and in a desperate plea for aid, reached out to Illyria. In a moment of profound connection, the World Soul imparted vivid visions of its imprisonment and flooded Illyria's mind with the entirety of its memories. Although Turalyon did not share in this psychic communion, he vowed to return and liberate Argus from the Legion's tyranny. However, the World Soul's distress inadvertently alerted the Legion's forces on Outland to their presence, forcing Turalyon and Illyria to make a hasty retreat, their mission compromised but their resolve strengthened. During the intense Argus campaign, the armies of Legionfall made a pivotal discovery: the ability to communicate directly with Argus, much like Magni Bronzebeard's communion with Azeroth, thanks to the Sacred Stone in the possession of the Crokul residing in Crokul Hovel. This revelation unveiled the true nature of the Emerald Star as a titan to the astonished Army of the Light. In stark contrast to the reassuring voice of Azeroth, Argus spoke in a voice wrought with torment and anguish, a reflection of the relentless agony inflicted upon him by the Legion. Utilizing the stone, Magni and a revered Order leader received harrowing visions from Argus. They learned of Sargeras' vile scheme to resurrect and corrupt the noble souls of the Pantheon, bending them to his malevolent will. Tragically, Agrimar had already succumbed to his corruption, further fueling the urgency of the Army of the Light's mission. In the fiery heart of Antaros, the Burning Throne, a monumental clash unfolded. The valiant Army of the Light and the champions of the Order stood face to face with the formidable avatar of Agrimar, guardian of the imprisoned world soul of Argus. Their mission is to sever Argus's tie to the malevolent grasp of the Burning Legion. As the freed spirits of the Pantheon labored to transport Argus's essence to safety, Sargeras, ever the cunning adversary, issued a command that changed the course of the battle. Argus the Unmaker, now unleashed in his true colossal form, confronted the Order leaders, bolstered by the support of the Pantheon. What followed was a confrontation that seemed insurmountable, a battle on the precipice of hope and despair. In a stunning turn, Sargeras himself intervened, infusing Argus with a fraction of his own formidable power, transforming the Titan to a crimson behemoth. The tide of the battle shifted once more, pushing the champions to their limits as they fought against the overwhelming odds. Yet despite the seemingly impossible challenge, the champions persevered. The Unmaker, driven by an eternity of torment, was finally laid to rest, freeing him from his perpetual suffering. As the dust settled, a somber victory hung in the air, tempered by the sacrifice of the fallen Titan. In a symbolic act, a small portion of Argus's lifeblood was retrieved by the champions, a tangible reminder of their triumph and a grim token to be shown to Khadgar, a testament to the monumental struggle against the forces of darkness. Harnessing the dwindling energies of the Titan Argus, the Pantheon embarked on a daring and final gambit. Together they forged chains of cosmic might, binding the malevolent Sargeras within the sanctum of the seat of the Pantheon. To ensure the fallen Titan's eternal vigil, Illidan Stormrage, a figure of unparalleled resolve and strength, stayed as his eternal jailer. With this decisive act, the Burning Crusade was brought to a stunning halt, marking the end of the Third Invasion and a resounding victory for the forces of Azeroth. Yet even in his captivity, Sargeras' malevolent presence lingered, a reminder of the eternal struggle against the forces of darkness. Now finally we land in the Shadowlands. As foreseen by the Nathrazine's cunning scheme, the corruption of Argus's soul led to a cataclysmic event in the Shadowlands. Upon his death at the seat of the Pantheon, Argus's soul careened into the Arbiter in Oribos, plunging her into an unending slumber. This profound disruption caused a devastating consequence. The flow of all new souls entering the Shadowland bypassed the Arbiter, cascading directly into the dark, ferocious depths of the Maw. This unforeseen turn of events played directly into the long-term plans of the Jailer, setting in motion a sinister chain of events that would reshape the fate of the afterlife. When a Mawwalker and their companions attempted to craft a new Arbiter in Zereth Mortis, utilizing an empty vessel within the crypts of the Eternal, a cunning Nathrazim infiltrator executed a nefarious ploy. The Saboteur disrupted the ritual and conjured forth an echo of Argus, intending for the Titan's essence to inhabit the vessel and become eternal. Despite the formidable challenge posed by Argus, the Mawwalker and their allies emerged victorious. However, the Nathrazim's interference temporarily halted the creation of a new Arbiter, until Pelagos bravely offered his own soul to fulfill the crucial role. So before we close off the video, there was one thing I kind of wanted to talk about real quick. When Sargeras broke open the demon prison that he had created on Mardoon and transformed into what we see in the game now, I was curious at first as to why it transformed him so much, since Fel is a weakness to the Titans. I figured it would do more damage than anything else, like it would more kill him. But my guess for that was because since he made the prison, it's a mix of arcane and Fel, and he was able to kind of survive it but still get messed up physically. He was already mentally pretty gone with just wanting to end all life to protect, I don't know if it's really to protect life from the void, but he, as I had said earlier, he wanted to, well, he felt that it was better to have a lifeless world than to have one corrupted by the void. So he was very dead set on that, but that was my big curiosity as to why the explosion of Fel from the world he destroyed to break out the demons to start his crusade didn't actually kill him. Because I figured it would do more damage, but I was thinking that due to the planet being a mix of arcane and Fel, since he created it, would be my guess as to why. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just he's just one badass. I don't know. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you did enjoy. This has been Chris, and I will see you in the next one. Do take care of yourself.